Gucci Mane, one of the most influential rappers to ever come out of Atlanta, a hip-hop icon known for helping shape modern trap music and launching the careers of countless artists. Today, many people know him as a successful businessman, a best-selling author, and one of the biggest comeback stories in rap. But before all that, his life looked completely different. Long before the platinum records, long before the sold-out tours, and the success, Gucci Mane was constantly finding himself in trouble with the law. Over the years, he was arrested multiple times on charges ranging from drug possession to probation violations to weapon offenses, and at one point, his legal problems became so serious that many people believed his music career was over for good. But unlike many stories in hip-hop, Gucci Mane doesn't end there, because after years of setbacks, he managed to completely transform his life, becoming one of the most respected comeback stories the rap industry has ever seen. And in this video, we're gonna take a deep dive into Gucci Mane's criminal history, how it affected his career, and how he turned his life around. But before we get into all that Gucci Mane talk, I want to wish a warm welcome to everybody who's returning or new to KDJ on Covers. And if you like this video, don't forget to interact by commenting and liking. Now, to understand Gucci Mane's criminal history, you have to go back to where everything started, before he became the face of Atlanta rap, before he started to define the sound of trap music. Roderick Davis was growing up between Alabama and Atlanta. Eventually settling in Atlanta, he was surrounded by an environment where drugs, crime, and street life were a reality for many people in his neighborhood. And as a teenager, he became involved with dealing drugs, but at the same time, he was developing a passion for music. For Gucci, rap wasn't just a hobby, it became a way to tell his story, and eventually, a way to build a future beyond the streets. But before that future became reality, his encounters with the criminal justice system had already begun. Now as Gucci Mane's career started taking off, his legal problems weren't going away. In fact, some of the biggest moments of his early career happened while he was dealing with serious problems outside of music. In 2005, Gucci Mane released Trap House featuring Young Jeezy. This project helped establish him as one of Atlanta's biggest rising stars, who was not only rising fast and coming up, but still active in the streets. But that same year, Gucci Mane became involved in a case that would follow him for years. According to Gucci Mane's account, he and another man got into a confrontation after an argument involving a woman. The confrontation eventually turned violent. Gucci Mane shot the man, and the man later died from his injuries. Gucci was charged with murder, but the case didn't end with a murder conviction. Gucci maintained that he acted in self-defense, and the prosecutors ultimately dismissed the murder charge after determining that there wasn't enough evidence. The incident became one of the defining moments of Gucci's early life, and while he avoided a murder conviction, his legal troubles were far from over. As his music career continued growing, Gucci was becoming one of the most recognizable rappers in Atlanta. He was releasing more mixtapes, collaborated with other artists, and built a reputation for working constantly. His influence was also starting to spread beyond Atlanta rap. Artists were beginning to recognize his ability to discover talent, and Gucci's circle was becoming increasingly important in the Atlanta rap scene. But away from the studio, his personal life remained chaotic. In 2009, Gucci was arrested after authorities accused him of assaulting a woman. He later pleaded guilty to the charge. The case resulted in probation, but it became another example of the legal problems that continued following him. And then, in 2010, Gucci found himself in trouble again. He was arrested after being accused of attacking a person with a pool cue. Once again, his career and his legal problems were developing at the same time, and this was becoming a pattern. Gucci would release successful music, build momentum, and then something outside of music would threaten the derail of everything. But despite all of this, his career kept getting bigger, and that's what makes Gucci Mane's story so unusual. Most artists would struggle to maintain a career through this many setbacks, but Gucci seemed to do the opposite. The more chaotic his personal life became, the more music he released, mixtape after mixtape, song after song. He became known for working at an almost ridiculous pace, and that consistency helped turn Gucci into much more than just an Atlanta rapper. He became a movement. His influence could be heard in the artists around him, and eventually in an entire generation of trap music. But the constant legal problems, combined with struggles in his personal life, were taking a serious toll, and eventually, Gucci would reach a point where he couldn't keep going the same way, because the next chapter of his story would lead to another arrest and another prison sentence, and one of the lowest points of his career. But what happened after that would completely change Gucci Mane's life. And by the early 2010s, Gucci Mane's career was massive, but his personal life was becoming increasingly unstable. He was releasing music constantly, but at the same time, his legal problems kept piling up. And in 2013, things reached another level. Gucci Mane was arrested in Atlanta after authorities accused him of aggravated assault. But this time, the situation wasn't just another temporary setback. It became the beginning of one of the most serious legal chapters of his career, because Gucci Mane was also dealing with probation issues, and the court eventually sent him to prison. For Gucci, this was a major turning point, because while he was behind bars, the music industry continued moving without him. New rappers were emerging, new sounds were becoming popular, and there was a real question of whether Gucci would still have a place in hip-hop when he eventually came back home. But something interesting started happening while Gucci was incarcerated. His influence didn't disappear. If anything, it became more obvious. Artists who had worked with him, and artists who had been influenced by him, and artists who had came through his circle continued carrying his sound forward. The Atlanta trap scene that Gucci Mane had helped build was becoming one of the most dominant sounds in hip-hop. And even though Gucci wasn't physically there, his fingerprints were everywhere. Eventually, Gucci was released from prison in 2016, and this is where his story completely changed, because the man who walked out of prison looked different. He was healthier, more focused, and seemingly determined to leave his old lifestyle behind. Instead of returning to the same cycle, Gucci started rebuilding his career, and he did it fast. He released new music, started collaborating with major artists again, and quickly reminded everybody why he had been so influential in the first place. But this time, there was something different about it. Gucci openly talked about changing his lifestyle. He became more focused on his health, his business, and his future. The transformation was so noticeable that even people who had followed his career for years were shocked. This wasn't simply a rapper coming home from prison and trying to get his career back. It looked like Gucci Mane had genuinely changed. And then, he started proving it through his music. He released projects, collaborated with some of the biggest artists in the world, and continued building the legacy he had started years earlier. But perhaps the biggest change was that Gucci was no longer simply surviving, he was building. His relationship with Keisha Kayor became another major part of his new chapter. He got married, focused on his family, and expanded into business. The same person who had spent years dealing with arrests in prison was now becoming an entrepreneur and a mentor. And that transformation became one of the most important parts of his legacy. Looking back, Gucci Mane's criminal history was complicated. There were serious incidents, arrests, convictions, probation violations, and years where his personal life repeatedly threatened to destroy his career. But his story doesn't end with those mistakes, because after spending years caught in the same cycle, Gucci eventually broke out of it. He came back home from prison, rebuilt his career, and became an example of how dramatically someone's life can change. Today, Gucci Mane is not only remembered for his legal history, but his enormous influence on trap music, his role in Atlanta's rap scene, and his transformation after prison. From the streets of Atlanta to prison, to becoming one of the most respected veterans in hip-hop. Gucci Mane's story is ultimately about consequences, reinvention, and second chances. And with that, we've come to the end of the Gucci Mane video. So if you enjoyed this, don't forget to show some love by commenting and saying what you want to see next. And with that, KDJ is out, man.